So we'll have a quick chat then with Josephine and Natalie. Josephine, how are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Really well. I am in sunny Vancouver, where Adam is flying to. It's beautiful here, very much springtime. And I've had a good cup of coffee already, so wonderful to be here. And of course, Natalie is joining me, which most of you do know and have seen at various different shows and doing presentations and training also. So happy she could join us today, too.
Yeah, thank you. Natalie, you're actually on the road right now, correct?
I am on the road. I am in sunny Southampton today, overlooking lots of cruise ships, which I'm very jealous that I'm not getting on. So yeah, I'm doing a travel gossip event tonight. So busy time at the minute.
Oh, you might see somebody on the webinar tonight then. Let us
You
know
never
if you're going to the Southampton show. So thank you. So yes, Natalie was just saying hello. Josephine is actually doing her update today. Josephine, you were recently on the train, and that's what you're going to talk about today, right?
It is. Natalie, it's wonderful. She has all the exact information that you need about Via Rail. And I know she presents very well and has met with a lot of you. So today I'm actually giving a little bit more of a casual presentation because, as Charlie said, I just recently traveled on the train from Toronto to Vancouver in wintertime. And I wanted to tell you a little bit more about that experience.
Thank you. Okay, well, Natalie and I will dip out. Natalie is in the chat as well. So if you have any questions, she can answer those. But otherwise, Josephine, over to you.
Wonderful, thank you. And knowing that we're quick on time, let's get started. So as mentioned, I'm Josephine from Via Rail, and as you know, probably all know, Via Rail is Canada's national railroad system. We go right across Canada on a year-round basis. And if you want to come and visit PEI using the trains, please know also that if your clients take the train to Moncton from either Halifax or Montreal or Quebec, this is a great access point into the wonderful island of PEI, which you'll hear more about later on from Charlotte. But the trip we're going to talk about today is basically the Canadian. We call it a classic train journey because it is like a cruise on rails experience. And one also sleeps on board the train at night and enjoys all of the services that we offer. It is a 4-day, 4-night journey to travel with us from Toronto all the way to Vancouver. You can do it all in one go. You can do it with several stops along the way, or you can also just do a portion also. And I have a really touchy screen here, sorry. You can do just certain portions also because, of course, Jasper to Vancouver, this part is very popular with clients who are coming to Western Canada. So as mentioned, on March 3rd, I hopped on the train from Toronto with my friend Simon, who's also a photographer. And we were doing a winter photography session so that we could add some photos to our assets for those of you that are promoting more off-peak and winter travel. It's a wonderful time to be on the train. It's very relaxed. It's smaller, the train in size. We're about 14 train carriages long, and smaller also with people traveling. We're about 80 to 150 people in the winter time on board the train. So I check into Toronto, the wonderful Union Station, and I leave my big bag with our staff who will take it to end destination. And then I'm checking in with our staff in the wonderful lounge with just my carry-on bags that I'm taking onto the train, saying hello, and of course, booking my dinner time. When you're walking down the platform to board the train, you can just feel the excitement of everybody. And I myself, I've been working with Via for 18 years. This was probably about my 10th train on the Canadian. And every time that I walk down that platform to board, I'm still just as excited as the first time. So there's real energy. Everyone's happy. Also, for the first time in 18 years working with Via Rail, I was actually able to travel in the Prestige cabin. This has never happened before. It was simply because the rest of the train was full. So I got to enjoy the nice big bedroom and the full washroom, which has a shower, toilet, and wash basin. So I sat down to relax a little bit upon departure. It looks like I'm having a glass of wine, but it's actually a glass of apple juice because I'm not allowed to drink when I'm on the train. But for the guests that would be traveling with us, certainly the glass of wine is available, especially for our Bon Voyage departure celebration, which happens when you leave from Vancouver, Jasper, and later in the day from Toronto. So these are some of my fellow colleagues that I have, not colleagues, but friends that I met along the way. So they're up enjoying the Bon Voyage. And while I was walking back from that celebration, I happened to pop in to see some of our younger family traveling. We do get a lot of families that travel with us. So Claire and Rose and their mama were busy with a game of Uno, of which mama was winning quite a bit. So it was quite funny and quite enjoyable to pop in and say hi to them. What you will see here is what we call a family suite on board the Canadian. It's 2 cabins for 2 that are open with the wall so that you can have the larger compartment and then room for a family of 4 to stay together. When we're traveling, you, of course, can stop along the way. And what I'm showing here is one of the stops. It was wintertime. It was chilly. It was about minus 27 outside. So didn't stay long. Most people didn't stay long, but we got to walk, get out and stretch our legs. You don't have to get off the train either, but it's nice for a little bit of fresh air. So then back to the cabin to enjoy more great winter scenery across Northern Ontario. I had a chance to have a little nap, which a lot of people do when they're traveling on the train also. And then I went back up to the Glass Dome to meet some more of our fellow travelers. Lorna has traveled with us many times, the lady on the left, as she has family in Toronto. So in wintertime, you have a very high chance of meeting Canadians, in the summertime too, but definitely in the winter. You will meet other international visitors though too. In the meantime, our chef is busy preparing our dinner, which was a wonderful prime rib, medium rare. All of the food on board the Canadian is made by the chefs and the people in the kitchen. There's no airline food or pre-food that comes on. And as you can see, you're seated in parties of 4, so you have a chance to meet other people that are traveling along the way. In the evening, it's a chance to go back to the lounge areas and see the other guests again, chat a bit. Our staff are available to make cocktails, beer and wine. And Lorna, who I spoke with earlier, she was a bit tired, so she just decided to retire back to her cabin, which was a cabin for 1, and enjoy her book in the evening. In the morning, we all got up with great anticipation because sunrise over Northern Ontario and the prairies is just magical. So this is what we're seeing here. So I was up in one of the Glass Dome carriages. This lovely couple was there already. It was their first wedding anniversary on this day. And they were from the US traveling across Canada with other members. There was 5 of them in total of their family and just having a little bit of time. So as you can see, it's not necessarily all elderly people. It's a good range of ages that are traveling with us. Wonderful breakfast, fully cooked, big Canadian breakfast with pancakes and maple syrup, as much coffee as you like. And in the meantime, as we were traveling, Claire and Rose found the snow had piled up in between the vestibules. Of course, the carriages are very warm, but as you walk in between, the snow comes in between the little cracks. So as all Canadian young people do, they made a snowman for all of us to enjoy. And this picture on the right-hand side also shows our ability for Canadian refrigeration, we call it. It's cold enough to keep the ice cold for the bar drinks in the evening. These wonderful ladies, 4 retired nurses, they go on a holiday every year together. They arrived at the station wearing t-shirts that said, girls trip better than therapy. And they were a lot of fun. So they actually traveled in a berth section. So they had 2 uppers, 2 lowers, great space to be able to share together. This is also the least expensive category to get into Sleeper Plus. So where all your meals are included and all the activities on the train, very comfortable. I don't know if you can read the title of the book, but I laughed when I saw it. It said, everyone on this train is a suspect. So here we are trying to figure out who actually done it, sort of like Agatha Christie traveling. This is again the next day. I'm sitting in the back. As you can see, there are younger people on board too. Will is actually from the UK, 19 years old. This is his aunt. It was actually the aunt's 25th wedding anniversary, but her husband refused to travel, so she took Will along, and they had a brilliant time. And I actually asked Will one time when we were walking on the platform, I said, are you a little bit bored? Because you are, a bit younger than other people on the train. And he says, no, he said, this is great. He says, everyone is so wonderful, and really chatted with them and was engaging. There was a group about 30 years old that he hung out a lot with and played cards and games, and of course, sat for beers in the evening. So it really is for everyone. Sunsets are also very lovely, moon coming into Edmonton. And here was our quick stop in Saskatoon that we could get out and stretch our legs. We had a group of Amish Mennonite traveling with us. These 8 young lads were on their trip. that they do every as they get older. It's called Rumspring, I think I'm saying it correctly. There was 8 of them traveling. They're a bit shy at the beginning of the trip, but by the end they were chatting with all of us, and they were just wonderful to speak with and learn about their way of living. They were traveling from Toronto all the way to Vancouver and then returning home via Amtrak on the bottom, because they actually don't fly. A lot of them were very interested in trains, so showing one of the freight trains that comes along. Via does have to wait for those freight trains, so we do sit a little bit, but we have been very good on our on-time performance on arriving into Vancouver, Jasper, and Toronto. Some of the midpoints a little bit, not so much, but then you're on the train. As you can see, people are sitting up with sunglasses. This is, again, wintertime. We're getting into the prairies now. Our staff on board will announce when there's anything significant to see and when there's any animals. And this is the common sight across Manitoba and Saskatchewan, are the old grain elevators. So great thing to look out for, very iconic Canadian scene. Lots of animals, the deer, the birds. This is actually a bald eagle, another herd of deers along the way. And again, lots of activities on board. So puzzles, Mr. and Mrs. Wong are also building a puzzle. Mrs. Wong is looking at her phone, but please be aware that there is not internet the whole way. It's just when we get to a major station. We do activities. So again, Canadian beer and wine tasting in the afternoon for everyone to get together, and another nice stop to stretch your legs. This was in Edmonton. It was minus 35 outside. And if anybody ever wants to know what happens when you throw a cup of hot water into the air at temperatures, it freezes instantly. So this was fun for the Australians and the Texans, and even us Canadians. I mean, we don't always get to do this either. So that is actually our CEO. He was traveling with us and he tried this too. So the staff help engage, and yeah, it's just a really unique, relaxed experience, and all these communities, form on board. We're heading towards the mountains now, and it's a beautiful sunny day, so amazing views. There's actually mountain sheep up in the top corner there, if you can see them, as we go around the bend. So this is where the focus is. In the meantime, Chef is preparing our wonderful lunch back in the kitchen. Another great meal with Craig and Linda. Also, the water features are really beautiful. The lakes will be frozen, but as you get past active water, like one of these streams, you see all the variation. This is Mount Robson, the highest mountain in Western Canada. You do see the mountains always during daylight hours, whether it's summer or winter travel. That's guaranteed. So we're looking at Mount Robson right now. Pyramid Falls, completely frozen in wintertime. Another wonderful dinner, rack of lamb this time. And here we are arriving into Vancouver Station the next morning, and we were on time after enjoying a full breakfast. Just so you know, also, there is always a vegetarian, vegan choice on every single meal that we serve. So those that don't like the full meat or fish or chicken meals, there is an option. And this is Simon and I having enjoyed a really great trip along the way. We, of course, operate year-round. So the rest of the presentation that will be added gives you more actual details about the Canadian and more data if you want to know a little bit more information, or Natalie is not around to give you more details. So that's me. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you, Josephine. Always great to just see that firsthand experience on the train. I love how you remember everybody's names, because this was a little while ago now, right?
Yeah, it was in March, but don't ask me next year. I probably won't.
You'll have been on it again. You'll have made a whole bunch of new friends.
Exactly.
So thank you. That was it's a really nice way to have that firsthand experience. So with those other slides that Josephine obviously just skipped through then at the end, the more sort of technical slides, they will be sent to you in the follow-up, so you can have a look at the cabin for 1, cabin for 2, the layout. And of course you have Natalie, so please reach out to her to do some more in-person or online training to do all those kind of the product side of it. But it was just really great to have that overview today. So thank you, Josephine.